Hello everyone, I was just going to do a quick tutorial on a couple techniques that I like to use a lot in procedural modeling that I, for one reason or another, don't see very often in other people's tutorials. Um, and I think that they're just really clean and really proficient ways to do your various deformations and things, and so I wanted to share them with you. The first one that we're going to do is go ahead and jump into a geometry node, double clicking on it. I'm going to make a turned table leg real quick. So we'll start with a line. And the process that I'm going to use for this is we're going to be using a channel ramp in VEX to get the curves and whatnot of the turned table leg. Which it gives you a lot of control and is just really nice. And so we're going to just jump right in. We'll give this a length of 3. Doesn't really matter for our purposes, but then we're going to resample. Maximum segment length checked. 0.1 is fine. That gives us plenty of points to work with. And then for channel ramp, it requires an attribute that has a value from 0 to 1 in order for it to work. So for us to get that on a line or a curve, we're going to actually use a UV texture node. And put this to point, and instead of orthographic, we're going to set this to arc length spline. And so now you can see that the first component of our UV attribute that it just created goes from 0 to 1. And we will use that in the next wrangle to drive our ramp. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to access the attribute pscale, and we are going to set that to channel ramp. We'll name this shape. Doesn't really matter, you can name it whatever you want. And then we'll access that attribute UV, and we only need the first component, so uv.x. We set that and click this button here, and that gives us our ramp. So now we're going to create a circle, polygon, and we are going to add a sweep. This is the cross section, and this is the backbone, which gives us circles varying in diameter according to this ramp. Go ahead and change this to skin unclosed. And now we can start shaping our table leg. I prefer on this especially to select both of these and set them to B-spline. And that way when we start adding in the different curves, we get nice smooth results. For whatever reason, the vertex order is reversed on that circle. So we will just flip it back and polycap it. And there is our table leg that we could go in and set however we want. So super easy, super powerful. You can get a lot of control out of it, and for whatever reason, I just don't see it used very often. and it's a shame because it's a really useful tool. So the second thing that I wanted to go over with you real quick, I've seen a lot of people use the bbox function in the H script. So we'll do like a tube, and then we have a big box over here. And we'll set this what did I do? Oh. So, okay, so now it matches that, which is great. I use this all the time, and that's really nice. But sometimes you need to be able to access the bbox of stuff in your VEX wrangles. So we'll put it down in grid, and we'll just give it a lot of points. And here is where I don't see people using it in here very often. And this is once I learned this, I use it constantly because it gives you a lot of control. It's really clean, and it's really quick. So we're going to initialize two vectors, and if you're not setting values to these, you can actually do this on the same line. Just separating it with a comma. And then we're going to get bbox from the first input, so index 0. We're going to map that to the vector min and the vector max. Okay, so now this holds all of our minimum values for x, y, and z, and this holds all of our maximum values for x, y, and z. And so now we can drive our deformations based on these relationships. For example, I can do if the point's position in x is greater than the maximum value of x times a threshold, channel called threshold, at p.y, and we'll raise it by 1. And so everything, since this is multiplying it by 0, everything that's a positive value moved up by 1. And then as we change this, so if we want it to be, just the top section, then we can do that. And this is this just works really well if there's a chance that this can be swapped out. And then you can actually use these to drive your channel ramp like we did on our last example. And so we'll do, we'll take our position, we'll actually have to name this, name it shape again, and then we're actually going to have to fit our position in z from the minimum value of z to the maximum value of z, and change that from 0 to 1. Because if you remember, this has to be between 0 and 1 for this function to work. And then activate that ramp, and we have our same thing again here. So we can modify this however we want. And we want to get a little bit more control. We can then again fit this value from 0 to 1, and we can do it to like negative values, which is probably a little bit more probably more what you would want to do on stuff like this. I don't know, maybe not. But then you can go below the threshold as well. So it's real nice, real easy, real clean, and you have a lot of control in what you want to do. Again, just like the other, you can click this button to expand that, and then you can, you know, get in there a little bit more exact on how you actually want this. And then just everything is really clean and really procedural and really easy. So those are, hopefully these help, and hopefully you get the hang of them and you can do real cool stuff with it. So, okay, well, we'll see you next time.